Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Jonnita Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman and Kashka Williams. We are TSARE, and this is the There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate. Right. Reggie over there doing the drum roll.
Yeah, we're doing the drum roll.
Get ready for this interesting topic.
Right.
How interesting is it?
Very.
Probate. What about probate?
Yeah.
So probate is one of those things, man, that a lot of people need to be informed on.
Right.
A lot of people are uninformed on what goes on when somebody passes, and they don't have the proper documents to pass the house to people what I would say the correct way. I guess, you know what I'm saying? But Reggie is the specialist here.
He is. I agree.
Look, I looked, so I just met Reggie maybe it's been 5 years.
Yeah, about
That's
5
crazy.
years,
Yeah. But I was looking up things about probate.
Right.
And you kept on coming up.
That means he's doing a good job.
Yeah, right. Everything I clicked on, it was like, it was different names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was all you. And I'm like, damn.
I'm about to start competing heavy against Reggie. Look out. I'm on your back.
Right. And I can show you how to compete against you.
I know. He will. Thank you.
Yeah. No, literally, he does, right? So, no, it's not really a competition, right? But, yeah, Reggie, so go ahead. We're going to let you take away.
Oh, no, we are going to,
So
because we all got probate
let's
stories.
okay.
Yeah.
So probate, the first thing you think of is obviously someone passing away and you have some sort of property. Right? So the situation comes and maybe someone wants to sell dad, and this is going to be a scenario that I have a contract for.
Okay.
Hey, my dad passed away. We don't want to deal with this property because a lot of times it's probably in a disarray. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a little bit too much, much more than the family probably can handle.
Right.
And so they just want to move the property and get whatever it is they can get from it. Now, what has to happen at that point? Hey, I have this house, I want to sell it.
Yeah, so they have to go through probate unless it was somebody else on title with them that had, maybe the title had full rights of survivorship, joint tenants with full rights of survivorship. So whoever the survivor is can just sell it. There's no probate needed.
Explain what the...
So me and Kashka own a house together. Mm-hmm. Both our names on the deed, and there's no wording. It just says Kashka, Reggie, right?
Yeah.
If Kashka passed, then...
I was hoping he wasn't going to say that.
State of Michigan, though, automatically reverts to...
No, don't automatically.
You got to go to probate.
Yeah, because that person's estate owns that part of it. There's no assumption of anything. Mm-hmm. So they're going to assume it's tenancy in common, which means your part goes to your family, my part goes to my family. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's full rights of survivorship, then, of course, whoever the survivor is gets the property. But a lot of times, people have to go through probate, so people will say, well, I had this deed. Like, where'd that deed come from? In the deed, you can see the notary is dated after the person's death certificate. Mm-hmm. So people try to bypass probate. Mm-hmm. So you need to open up the probate estate. So with the county, pretty much, and each county is different. Each state is different.
So let's talk about Wayne County because that sounds super complicated. You open up the probate with the court. I don't want to do that.
Hold on,
you just file the paperwork.
Hold on, but we didn't even answer the first question. Remember, he was explaining the two, and then you had said something and you threw him off.
Oh, so if the deeds are not the right way with the full rights of survivorship, we go back to.
So that's the Kashka and Reggie on the deed. Right. Kashka pass.
Right. Then you have the full rights of survivorship. Then there's no need for probate.
Right. But that would have to be in a.
There's no need for probate for that property. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
But that would have to be spelled. Yeah, I would have to have that spelled out in some paperwork somewhere.
It would be on the
deed.
On the deed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So some people get the bright idea. I'm gonna go to Office Depot and draft a deed. Right. I want to add my son on it, and when I pass, my son is on it. And that's not the case. You don't have the proper wording on the deed. It doesn't automatically go to your son. You have to have joint tenants with full rights of survivorship, because some people might be two people on a deed, and they may specify on that deed what percentage of ownership they have. Mm-hmm. So it's different language you put on the deed that can help you prevent probate.
And
too.
That is actually something that's taught in real estate school. That's
Exactly.
like one thing that you can walk away from there and use from real estate school.
Exactly. So probate in general, you just have to go to the courts here. You're going to have to file all the paperwork. There's things like a inventory list you have to fill out. That's where you list all the assets in the estate. Now, depending on if you're using an attorney or not, some people will list just like the house, the cars, maybe jewelry, and things of that nature. Some people will list everything, including pots and pans, right? It just depends on that person's preference. Whether it's needed, I can't give you advice on that, right?
Read between the lines or go to get you an attorney.
The thing is, like, once it's over a certain dollar amount, I won't quote that dollar amount because it can change. But once it's over a certain dollar amount in the estate, you will have to pay inheritance tax on it. So that's when you get people trying to do trust and different things to try to avoid probate. So they will own certain items in their trust or whatever. So, but the person that can actually sell, somebody has to petition the court to become the personal representative. In some states or cities, it's called the executor. This is the person that's authorized to carry out the whatever's written in the will with permissions from the court. So however the will, this person is in charge of the estate pretty much.
So I'm dealing with the situation right now where they had the papers as personal representatives, and they're also children, and also an agreement. But these particular papers specify that they did not have the right to sell real estate.
Yep. So it's called a letters of authority is what you're talking about. Letters of authority can give you a couple options. It can be no restrictions, meaning you can sell anything you want. The personal rep can sell what they want. They can pretty much move the assets around as they see fit for the best interest of the estate. Now, the personal rep does have a fiduciary duty to the estate because let's say I pass and somebody else in my family goes to be personal rep. My other family members can be like, no, we don't. They can fight against that because maybe they don't trust that person to do right by the estate. So sometime the court, if they haven't seen enough information or they'll appoint somebody personal rep just to get things moving, but they'll put restrictions like you can't sell any real estate or you can sell real estate subject to court approval.
So in your client's situation, then it sounds like the courts didn't see enough information, or maybe they didn't. They must not have agreed because in my situation,
right, they
agreed, and they don't have that issue. So I mean, I'm not an attorney, but
right.
If everybody agreed, then why would they put limitations on it if the only people that would be receiving anything all agree that this individual can be the personal representative?
Yeah, because usually all the parties that's involved have to sign some type of affidavit, or when they presented it to the court, they probably didn't present all the information.
I think that's probably what it was because it's only the two people involved, and the one person who's not the personal representative put me in touch with the other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be like if, you only have one sibling and it's kind of like, I'm letting my other sibling handle it. You talk to her.
So they probably could get that lifted.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue or anything like that. It just has to go back to the court for approval.
Yeah.
Which sucks right now.
People, once you have your letters of authority, people, and I'm going to tell people, ask your attorney, but just from my experience, as long as you have letters of authority, if it's no restrictions, you can list the house and it's basically a regular sale. The only thing is you're not obligated to complete a seller's disclosure, right? But if it has restrictions, you can list the property, even go under contract. You just have to put in there subject to court approval, meaning the court needs to see that purchase agreement. So there's two different types. Either the court needs to approve you actually being able to sell the property, period, or they'll say you can sell the property, but they need to approve that particular sale. So in other words, you can sell the property, but we need to approve the amount you're selling it for, right? So there's some differences there, and each estate is going to be different.
Okay. So what documents are going to be needed?
That's really it. The letters of authority, and then everything else is your standard purchase agreement.
So you don't need lead-based seller's disclosure because
you do need lead-based paint.
So that's not exempt.
No, but your seller's disclosure is.
Okay.
Unless you live there, right?
Unless you live there and you were the personal rep.
Right.
And that's when we tell people to get legal advice. Because the way everything is written here in Michigan, if you're a personal rep, is not necessarily your home. Unless it was your home, then that's different. But it wasn't your home, so you're exempt from disclosing things on the seller's disclosure. But somebody can fight that and say, oh, you lived there until you was 29 and now you're 31. Right. You know something about that house, right? But based on the way things are written is that you don't need to fill out the seller's disclosure. Everything else is your standard contracts.
So as far as getting an attorney involved, do we actually need to do that? Or, I mean, I guess we always recommend that you seek the advice of an attorney. But I guess the question is more so in terms of level of difficulty to be able to complete a probate transaction. You
don't, but I recommend it. It's just like you don't need a realtor, but I recommend it.
For sure.
Because people get, especially when you got multiple family members, and what I see most of the time is it's one person doing all the work. Everybody else want money, and everybody else got to say so, but they not doing any of the work because a lot of times it's no money in the estate. It's probably $2,000 in the bank account, but the mortgage payment on the house $800 a month, right? And the gas bill $300 a month. Nobody's chipping in for nothing. Everybody's waiting for this house to sell so they can get their $40,000 a piece and go. So when it gets like that, it's probably best to just have an attorney to expedite, because people file papers wrong, then you got to keep going back to court. And even now, with the courts backed up, everything is a little bit slower. That's why people be like, oh, probate gonna take 8 months, because they doing it wrong.
Yeah, they didn't get an attorney.
I had a client last year. We were under contract. The daughter and the son. The daughter came here to help her mother sell the house and move. They moved the mother down south. She was elderly. They moved the mother down south with them. We were supposed to close like 3 days before Thanksgiving. I got a call that weekend before from the daughter saying my mother passed. So she was already, had some illnesses or whatever. And so she was like, but we still need to sell the house. What do we do? I gave her the attorney's number. We closed the house before Christmas because it was just her and the brother. It was already under sale. All we did was switch the contract over, so the personal rep, which was her daughter, had to sign it. The attorney pushed it through. It's no way I can see an individual doing something like that. And then the attorney was only $2,500. Right? You're talking about $180,000 home. And the amount you would have paid in court fees and parking and time off work, you would have spent that easily.
And waiting.
Because
now you got the mortgage, if you have a mortgage.
And you probably would have did something wrong. The attorney knows some of the clerks and the people down there, they know. And they're taking down piles of these. So they're just getting everything processed at once. So it's just streamlined.
And people, I think, take for granted a lot of times those holding costs, paying those additional mortgage payments and utility payments and things like that or whatever. So timeline from beginning to end, you list the house, and we're talking about you get the call from the person who, needs to sell this property to the time you close. Right? Okay.
Depends.
It depends. But I could tell you now, if you just got a clean case, and it's going to vary per county, but like right now I got one. We just got the letters of authority, and it's two separate estates that owns this house because it was two people. And like we mentioned on the deed, so their shares went to both of their kids all the way down. So like this person A, 50% to their estate, person B, 50% to their estate. But they're all family, right? But estate one personal rep got letters of authority, no restrictions. The estate B rather, they got letters of authority with restrictions because there's some other stuff going on in their estate. So we got to make the offer subject to and list the property and put in the listing subject to court approval. The attorney said, oh, this only going to take 4 to 6 weeks. Well, guess what happens in 4 to 6 weeks? It take that long to get your mortgage process to go through.
So it's the same process.
It's same thing.
My experience right now is different. Now this is Oakland County. But just getting a court date has been like 4 months.
Right. You got
with an attorney.
So there's a difference, right? Is it a probate attorney?
Yes, it is a probate attorney. Well, I'll double check. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what kind of attorney they hired. But I'm guessing. I don't know why they would hire somebody other than you thinking they just hired like the family attorney? No,
people do it all the time. People will be like, oh, I'm looking through their records. And I see this was their attorney they used. That was their criminal attorney that kept getting them off.
And now he's getting the money. Right.
Now ain't like you trying to send them to probate. No, a probate attorney don't have to guess what to do. They going right to it.
They know what
and they down there so much. They know the people. Here, take this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a whole different ball game. Just like a real estate attorney. You can get a regular attorney, but a real estate attorney gonna know a lot more because that's primarily what they do.
Because the regular attorneys do not do a good job in real estate. I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
Like we had that a lot of times. Regular attorney want to do a quick claim deed, do not do it.
Yeah.
They do not know what the hell they doing.
Yeah.
A lot of them. I'm going to say everybody, but a lot of them don't know what the hell they doing.
Look. I'll be like, why is this on here?
So
can you add this?
The fun part about probate, the interesting part is all the family disputes, right? Because probate, I tell realtors this, when you market for probate, you have to understand emotions, you have to understand personality types, you have to understand like a disassessment, right? Who are you dealing with? First, is the personal rep, what's their mindset? How close were they to this person? Some people be like, let's get them in the ground, sell the house, let's go, right? Some people like, oh, I can't let go. Give us another week or two. I got to go back over there. It's hard to let go. You look up a year and a half later, we just still trying to get the house cleaned out. You be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's in foreclosure, you know what I'm saying? And they just still can't let go. So you have to understand that. So what wholesalers come at personal reps hard. Realtors, depending on who trained them and who coached them, they know how to approach it a little bit different. Some wholesalers know the difference if they're really good. And the same with investors. So not everybody's desperate for money because they're in probate. Some people, I've seen people that got so much money and they're like, oh, this was grandma's house or my father's house. We grew up there. It's worth $300,000, but we just been sitting on it for the past 6 months. We ready to go ahead and get this thing moving. Where do we start? Like, you ain't even started nothing. It was like, no, we just wanted to make sure we buried them and we took our time and make sure we went through everything, all the paperwork that was in the house. I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? You letting it sit for 6 months. So everybody's different.
See, we had a situation, I mean, like you said, so everybody's not hungry for money.
Right.
First probate that we even had anything, that me and Jonnita had anything to do with. I'm not going to speak on who it was personally, but they had, they didn't even care about the money.
Yeah.
So they wasn't even, so when they was getting offers, they wasn't going with the highest and best offer.
Right.
They was going with the individual that they felt should have the house.
Yeah, was going to love on the house. Yeah.
You know, even though they weren't going to love on the house, all of them was investors.
Right.
But for whatever reason, they feel like, oh, this person right here, these are the people I want to have the house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's case by case basis.
When you have the situation, so this is going to be into some of our story time. So I have a person who's a family member, sister-in-law just passed away. So, you know, she's on the side of her husband.
Yep.
And the person that passed away had a long-time boyfriend, like 20 years. 20 years, they both had kids, no kids together.
All right.
And so when the person that passed away is on the deathbed, the long-time significant other, it was basically like, oh, we got to get some papers in order. Now, you know, the whole family is like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Are you serious? She's not even in the ground yet.
Yep.
And when she's telling me the story, I'm like, I don't see the big deal.
So,
no, and it's not being insensitive to the fact that the person was on her way out.
Yeah.
It's just more so saying that the longtime boyfriend understood, like,
right.
I had a problem here.
Yeah.
I'm about to be on my behind if something happens to this individual.
Yeah, you have, I've seen it all. So, like, you see some families where it's always one person that has come to the understanding that this is about to happen. Mm-hmm. So they prepared for it way before the person passes away. So they're already getting affairs in order. They just can't convince the person to write their will and do that. But they know once this happened, I have to jump into action. Then you have people that just stick their head in the sand, and when it happened, they're like, we'll deal with it. So, yeah, you got people like that, and it seem insensitive, but they're really about their business.
That's it.
That's all it is.
And that's why I said learn those dispersonalities. So when you're a wholesaler or you're an agent and you're talking to the personal rep, you can automatically identify what personality type they are. Because if you call in probate leads and you go right into the property, as soon as they pick up, well, I was wondering what you're going to do about the property over on Main Street. Have you considered selling it? You know, we can take it off your hands for you. Taking it off your hands for you is like, no, that's a red flag to somebody that's emotionally attached. And how you know the personal rep is not the wife, she's just a personal rep.
Right.
Right? Or I can take your property off your hands for you.
What you mean? Take my property
I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? So it's something you have to understand emotions when you're dealing with probate. I got people that they had no problem selling the house. They had no problem with the Corvette in the car. They all knew who that was going to. They had no problem who was going to get what from the sale of the house. Them damn dishes, them pots and pans. When I tell you up to the day of closing, so this was so unique. $260,000 house, everything. So they came in, somebody got the fur coat, somebody got the furniture, the china cabinet and all of that. Them damn pots and pans, them sisters was in there like, and they intentionally said, nobody moved them pots and pans out the kitchen. All through showing, house empty as hell, pots and pans in the kitchen. I just looked at them every showing, was like, them damn pots.
You know that must be an issue.
Because the issue was they all could cook good. Their mother, they grew up in the kitchen under their mother. And these are the pots and pan sets. And it wasn't like, oh, you take this skillet and you, no, they all wanted, they all thought they deserved it because this was just part of their family. I'm like, can't y'all just switch them out every month?
That's what I was thinking.
Look, it's supposed to go to the oldest. It go to the oldest, and then that's how it's supposed to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then what about the youngest?
She got to get it after the older. You know, you got to wait. You wait your turn.
Yeah, then... So
look, this is the thing. So this show is where it's about educating, right? You know, we haven't talked about leaving legacies and things like that for a minute. Right. But I think that's the purpose of us having these conversations. And one of the things that I've been intentional about, so I start my, what do you call our resolutions? I start early. I start around September thinking about it. October, like, I got to really start getting this done. Around November, it's like, Time to start putting some stuff in motion. And one of the things that I've been being intentional about is my planning.
Yeah.
And, you know, so my family looking at me like I'm crazy. My daddy like, we're not going to be having these talks about you leaving here.
Right.
And it's like, no, I don't plan on going anywhere, you know, for about 100 years or so. I get that from him. But it's a real thing. Like, you have to have the conversation because everything that I'm doing personally is so that my children will be okay later.
Right.
Now, if we're talking about investing and big money, we don't worry about them kids after a certain age, right?
Right.
But is that real?
No.
Not really, because we wouldn't be having this conversation about these pots and pans, right? If that was an actual real thing. So I think it would behoove a lot of us to have the thought of like, okay, what will our families be going through? You know, something happens. What will they be fighting over? And, you know,
gotta know it.
How much of it can you can't do everything.
Right.
But, you know, how much of it can I set straight? And one of my things is, on a personal standpoint, as an investor, you know, someone that likes to put my money in fairly okay. I do splurge, but, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in putting my money in the ground.
Right.
So one of the things I'm going to put in place right now is, you know, I will be cremated. This is where I will be going.
Right.
This is where you will put me. And this is what's going to happen to the house. You know what I mean?
The assets.
Exactly, the assets.
Yeah.
And that way, you don't have all these fights about, you know, where money is going and who's getting what. And then now, they might fight over some dishes. I can't help them with that. But I think, like what Shaka just said, is if you set like a precedence for, you know what, you guys be respectful of each other. You know, you have siblings.
That sounds
like, that's
good.
teaching, right?
You
have to teach your children.
That sounds good. But when money get involved, I'm telling you, some of the probate, so people just, so you got people that are well off, right? But money, it don't mean nothing to them, right? Like the little bit of inheritance they was going to get, it doesn't really change their life. Then you got people that's well off. They just want it because they're greedy and they'll infight, right? I don't care what the will say. They hurt because grandma left you $10,000 more than me and I thought I was the favorite, right? And it has nothing to really do with the money. It's just the fact that you got a little bit more than me. Then you have families that are not well off, and this money really is life-changing, or life-changing for a year or so.
Right.
Yeah.
Depending
you know what I'm
how
saying?
you use it, right.
Yeah, so that's why when Jeter was on here and she was like, you have to update your will regularly. You have to look at, okay, these kids are 10, they different people when they 16.
Exactly.
They different people.
That's true.
So you have to think about who they are at that time and who they're probably going to be. So
then you got the people who don't need the money, but they feel like the sibling or the family member that came from nowhere, that was nowhere around, that did none of the assistance or anything. No, I don't think you should get anything, but you know they are going to get it because they're entitled to it, right? So then that becomes your next issue. So I don't do resolutions, New Year's resolutions. Yeah, I feel like, you know, when I think about something, I feel like I got to do it tomorrow. Like, it's like I got to do it. Like, oh, what? You thought about that today? That needs to start happening when you wake up, the next time I wake up. But they definitely need to contact Jeter. We're doing a bad job right now. You know what? I haven't talked to Jeter since the second week since she was out of here. Right. And she gave me homework.
Yeah,
but
I'm doing good. He can't speak for me.
Well, no, but
I'm on my timeline.
On your estate planning or for business?
Business, right? She said she's doing good, right? Because none of us did good as far as it concerns business-wise, right? I mean, we might have done some things, but we haven't. So yes, my family is taken care of. I'm not worried about that. That stuff is in order. But there are things, I have things going on, like you have things going on. I don't know what your situation. Well, you have things going on too that we haven't taken care of paperwork-wise. Right. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you definitely need to make that a priority. Don't not a New Year's resolution. Do it right now.
Yeah. A lot of times people be scared of the attorney fees. Yeah. Like with probate, every probate I've done as far as a home sale, the attorney, that's why I pick certain attorneys. They may have charged $500 up front. They just get paid the rest at closing. Like, and especially when you already got a contract in place and it's gonna close, and in a hot market, they like, oh, this house gonna sell.
Smart
Worst
attorney.
case scenario, the attorney gonna put a lien on the house for the $2,000 or $3,000 and get paid when it sell anyway. Yep.
But you want to do that before that. You know, you get what I'm saying? So you want to take care of that business prior to that. That way you won't have to deal with so much at probate. Or during probate. You know what I mean?
Probate is not hard. People make it ugly. The people involved make it ugly. It's really a straightforward process.
Look, I have that same situation we discussed.
Right.
It was pretty straightforward. He actually had a will.
Yep.
And it said where everything was going.
Right.
But the family members still fought it. You know what I mean? I'm talking about people that I hadn't seen in years.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But felt like they had, they actually did. They had some claim because he didn't. The house was the one thing that he didn't do a good job of signing his paperwork.
Right.
But everything else he did.
What about the kids by the ex-wife and then the stepmom come in? They been married several years and now they fighting each other.
Okay, actually it's different. So go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's
okay.
Something
So that's not necessarily my situation. So yep, Daddy, I'm putting all your business out there. So my dad is, how old is my dad? 76. He just got married. Oh, he's got an anniversary. I got to go get an anniversary gift. December 19th. It will be 1 year. And I'm like, why you wait until you like 75 to get married? Are you serious? So now I got to be fighting with some woman I don't know about nothing.
Ooh.
You ain't even in the picture no more.
Exactly.
You don't exist, right? But still, she the family member we're talking about.
Huh?
She your age?
Oh, absolutely not. He knew better than that. Never mind. I can't say that on air. But she's actually a really nice lady. I'm glad he found her. I think she takes really good care of him.
And you should be happy
and
she did everything.
I'm happy for him. But what I like that he's doing and what I've realized is he didn't come and get the deed. So he gave me this deed for his plot a couple years back or whatever. Like, here, put this away or whatever. So I have it. I know where to go and so on and so forth. And I guess they've been, visiting with their attorney and getting their paperwork in order. Yep. And, something happens to this person or that person. This is who is the authority and so on and so forth. And it's not like I had anything to, I walked away from it. It was like, okay, my dad got married, and so I guess that's what I was just thinking, like the conversation that you have with your children. One of the things my dad has always taught me to do is be respectful. Be respectful of my elders and to be respectful of him. So if I'm going to respect him, I already know that if he's chosen someone after all this time to get married to, I'm going to respect her regardless.
Yeah, but that ain't every family though.
No, and I know that's not every family. But it's a learning curve. So one of the things I was telling a young lady who lost her sister-in-law, I said that woman lived with that man. No matter what you guys felt like was right, wrong, or whatever, and from what you tell me, she was happy with him up until she passed away. This is her lover, and so you respect that relationship. You can't come in after a person. You can, I guess, as family, you can do what you want. But sometimes you have to take a step back and say, okay, what would this family member have done? Or what would this family member actually have wanted? So yeah, I'm emotional. I feel some kind of way. I want this, but what does this actually? And I'm talking about my dad here. You know what I mean? Something happens to my dad, I literally have to be respectful of a person that I don't really know.
Yeah,
they don't do that. Most people don't.
They don't.
Here's the thing. It depends. It's a lot to that because I personally feel like when I got married, I made sure my paperwork was right so that there's no confusion. That was me making sure the people in my life were going to be respected and get what they deserve, right? Some people are not thinking about that, and they're leaving it up for everybody else to sort it out after they're gone. So when it comes to the real estate part of it, that's really kind of the simplest part of the whole process. You can fix it because it's a house. Either it needs to be sold or it don't. Because we gotta talk too. Like sometime the house has to be sold to pay off other debts, or maybe the house went into foreclosure. Because I know a lady. I was like, wow, why did she do that? Like I couldn't. When I was younger, I was in real estate. She refinanced her house. She knew she had cancer, right? Doctor was like, you got maybe 3 to 4 years tops to live. So she went out, probably like the second year, she living good. She refinanced her house, pulled all the equity. I'm not giving nobody no advice. Pull the equity out. And I'm like, dang, she gonna leave all her kids all this debt. You know, they ain't gonna keep the house. They gonna lose the house. When she passed, she had money in the bank or whatever. And the house just went to trash. They didn't, they ain't want it. They couldn't keep it. They couldn't pay it off. They couldn't afford the mortgage. And I was like, damn, she knew what she was doing, right? So some people just had that foresight to see, like, look, this is what's going to happen after the fact. She lived her last few years of her life good. She wasn't worried about them kids. You know what I'm saying?
FDK, y'all.
Yeah, they was grown, and she was like, they not gonna do nothing with this. Let me enjoy what I can out of it, right? Now that could have worked whether she had sold the house or whatever and got her money, but everybody has a different way.
But I feel like the children also shouldn't be putting that type of stress on their parents or, elders as well. It's just like when my dad did the reverse mortgage. We should talk a little bit about that too. But so he decided to go ahead and refinance out of it recently, but he did his reverse probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was never worried about the house because for me, it was one of those things. Either I can redeem it if something happens to him or I can't. But I'm not going to stress my father out about it. If he needs, let him do the reverse. He can get all of the equity at the time out of it. And he doesn't have to do anything other than keep the taxes up, right?
Right.
So now my father, who's retired and on a fixed income, does not have to worry about what we talk about. One of the biggest expenses
is your house.
Right. Because he doesn't have that responsibility. Right. It becomes my responsibility if something happens or it doesn't. Right?
Yeah. But I see a lot of people with reverse mortgages, and then next thing you know, they're moving to like a nursing home. And then it's like, oh, we got to do a short sale. A lot of my short sales were reverse mortgages. And I'm like, well, and this mortgage was just taken out like 2 years ago. And I'm like, where was the kids at? Didn't nobody consult? Like, if you're a year from now, you move into a nursing home, like somebody didn't think something through. Now, it's situations where something may have happened.
Maybe they didn't know.
Yeah, most of the time. But it's just, we just got to stop thinking about right now. So it puts you in bad situations.
So I guess we need to explain what a reverse is.
Yeah, go ahead.
So reverse mortgage is people that are over 62 are eligible for it. And you can basically refinance the house. If there's equity in the house, you can pull that money out of it. And you don't have to pay that mortgage back for your life.
Right.
And if you pass away during that time or you move out of the house, that's what Reggie was talking about. So now you move from the house to a nursing home. Now something has to be done with the house. It has to be sold or refinanced out of that reverse.
Right.
Something has to happen other than it sitting in that reverse mortgage situation.
Right.
Right. And so I think what happens a lot of times if someone passed away and now they have to go to probate and now you become the personal representatives. And you start to call the mortgage company and see, okay, what's going on with this mortgage, right?
I'm glad you brought that up, too. So once you're done, remind me to go back to the probate and what you got to do for the mortgage part of it.
Okay. Yeah, and so then they give you some amount of time, it's probably a year, to settle that debt before they come in and try to take the property back.
Right.
And sometimes that can mean a short sale. I have one going on. It's a friend of mine from high school. And so I'm basically just advising. And one of the things that I advised was, hey, see if they will take less than what's owed on the house.
Right.
And, she was pleased to find out that they would take a whole lot less than was owed on the house. And so what I told her was, I said, pay it off cash.
Right.
Because if you put it on the market and you get a higher sale, I don't know what the bank would do at that point.
Well, they basing the short sale based on the current market value, based on their appraisal, right? So if the house sell for more, because they want the HUD settlement statement in order to prove the short sale. So if they see his money left over, they're going to be like, you're not getting that money.
That's our money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why I told her, I said, if they approved you to pay this amount off, pay that off and get that mortgage discharged.
Right.
And then do whatever it is you want to do from there.
Right. So here's what happens too. So let's go back to selling a house on probate. So a lot of people, one misconception people got is, oh, it was my grandmother's house. I'm living here. I called the mortgage company and they'll put the mortgage in my name. That's fine, but the house is not. Your mortgage company can't deed the house to you because they don't own it yet unless they foreclose, take it, and then you acquire it from them, right? But people think because their name is on the mortgage, they're automatically on the house. So I see a lot of people, grandma passed, mama passed, they call the mortgage company, and the mortgage company is like, oh, well, if you want to assume this mortgage, here's the process.
You're going to pay us?
Yep.
Thank you.
And they like, now you're on the hook for paying this mortgage, but you're not on title.
Yeah.
You go to pay that mortgage off, you get a discharge, you're still not the owner of the property, right? And then any brother or sister can sit there and contest you for it, right? Even though you were the one paying it. Now, when you get to court, you probably can show all of that and may go in your favor, but why risk it, right?
Yeah.
So when that person passes, in order to talk to the mortgage company or homeowners association, first thing they're going to want is a death certificate. You can't just call and be like, oh, my mom passed, my dad passed, we trying to pay the mortgage off or sell the house. No, they want to see a death certificate. Then most of the time they want to see the letters of authority. So that to say that you're authorized to talk to them on behalf of the estate. They're not just going to take your word for it. Now, if it's a death certificate, some lenders will say, well, nobody else called. It's been 30 days. It's been 60 days. Well, we need to talk to somebody because we got to settle this debt, right? But if you got letters of authority and a death certificate, then you can talk to the mortgage company, or if it's a homeowners association, you can talk to them. You can talk to anybody that has a lien on that property. You just have to show that. You're going to need the death certificate anyway for the closing, for the title, because they have to record the death certificate. People will be like, oh, why need the death certificate? Because on title is John Doe, then it's the estate, and the estate is the one signing and selling that property to the buyer. So all documents are signed, Jane Doe personal rep for the estate of John Doe, right? So that's how all the documents are signed. Without that death certificate and the proper documents, who's to say John Doe even passed, right? So people a lot of times don't realize, like, get the death certificate, open a probate case, and just get it moving. And then what just takes so long is people just don't know what papers to file, or they don't read and follow directions, or they hesitate. So if I take some papers down there now, it's possible I may get some stuff pushed through before the holidays. I'll wait a week or so now. They may be piled up, and they may not look at them until January.
Because that's what everybody does.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving is coming up. Oh, they ain't working this week.
Yeah.
Oh, Christmas is coming. Oh, they ain't nobody working this week.
That's
not true.
This is a little off subject, but one of my deals that closed last week, the lender tried to tell the buyer the whole time, oh, well, we got Thanksgiving coming up. And she was like...
And?
Like, fuck that. Like, I ain't giving you no more referrals.
Exactly. Like, what do you mean?
But anyway. People really say that. You know what I mean? And feel like that's a real thing. It's like, bro.
I don't want an attorney. I don't want a mortgage rep. I don't want a realtor. Who else I don't want?
Anybody
I don't want a
business.
contractor. I don't want nobody mentioning Thanksgiving. I don't want nobody mentioning Christmas. You celebrate, that's fine. But don't tell me, oh, this coming up. So I know it's coming up.
The only time I bring it up as a realtor is when I'm working on my dates for my contract. I try to explain to my clients.
It's going
to be able to close, right?
People going to delay because of this time.
Right.
So we need to make sure we.
Well, they don't got to delay,
that.
but you can't close you can't close or transact business if the business is closed.
Yeah, on those days.
But
But what I'm highlighting is, so like what we're sitting here talking about, people using the holidays because people are out, they're on vacation, all these different things are. So I just say, okay, like if we're writing contracts and we're writing in like September 15th.
Normally it would be 30 days. You got to allow for the holidays.
Exactly.
So now it may be 40
and
days.
if you writing in November.
Right.
Now you got Christmas and New Year's that could impact your transaction. So that's more so my conversation.
Yeah. But Christmas is on a Friday, right? This year?
No,
Saturday?
Yes.
Okay, so you already got Friday and Saturday.
Depending on when they watch the show.
Right. So you got a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in which people are working. I understand that you're not working on the eve and the day of.
Right.
But the whole week is not a wash.
Well, the reason I said it was,
I agree. However,
we understand, like, so you got your business days and then you got your weekends. Nothing popping on the weekend for most people. Title companies, mortgage companies, but not appraisers and contractors. And we understand a holiday is going to take up one or two of those business days that they're not open. I get that. But when people just put a blanket statement like, well, you know, Thanksgiving coming up. Yeah, but not everybody has your same work ethic.
If I'm out shopping on the eve, I will show a house on the eve. You know what? Right. I'm gonna be at Target at 3.
You're giving away realtor secrets because a lot of people be going on vacation or taking off, and we still be hustling. So don't tell everybody we still be hustling.
So we digress.
Let them go to Target.
Look, let's talk about my favorite part of every show, investing in probate.
All right. So investing in probate. So my last couple flips were probate, and
our current one.
It's your current one's probate.
McLean.
Yeah, and one that I just put an offer on.
Oh, Southfield. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, McLean wasn't in probate. That wasn't.
Here's what most people don't know, right? Let's say if you get in a contract, let's say you find a house. Let's say I'm buying John Doe's mom passed and there's no probate. And John Doe just like, man, I just want to get rid of the house. But I don't want to pay an attorney. I don't have no money. The house is only $80,000. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's worth as is. I don't have the money. I don't want to be bothered with it. I don't want to do nothing. Say, all right, John Doe, let's sit down with the attorney. The attorney can say, are you willing to sign an affidavit to allow Mr. Perryman to be the personal rep? So the attorney can open a case, petition in the court for me to be the personal rep, or somebody else that I might know, or possibly an attorney, right? And I can pay the fee up front. So for an investor, most investors think, oh, you got to go take care of that before we can sell it and put all the pressure back on a family member. When really, if you got a good attorney, anybody can be the personal rep as long as they're approved to be the personal rep, right? And they're going to work in the best interest of the estate. And you got to show that's what your intention is. So if this is maybe one or two family members, they both don't have great finances, and the house is really the only asset that's going to generate asset for the estate, money for the estate, then it's in their best interest to get it sold. But maybe they don't want to be bothered with it, and they agree to do it. As long as they agree in writing, as an investor, I can say, hey, here's what I'll do. We'll sit down with my attorney. Here's how all the documents is going to work out. And the attorney can push for somebody else to be the personal rep so that the property can be sold.
I feel like that was a note or a gem or a highlighter.
It was a gem. That's why you watched the show.
Yeah. Or individual, because I didn't even know this was Reggie, buyer or seller, until like 4 episodes ago. And it's been years. No, it's been a couple years. It was before COVID. Longfellow. Or you got somebody out of state that doesn't want to come traveling back and forth. It's not worth it for them. They don't care about the money.
Right.
They're just like, man, can you just take care of this for me?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So probate's a good way.
I want to talk about another side of that, though. What I like about some of those properties, and some like that I've seen in my experience,
right?
The properties that come up over probate, typically it's been in the family for a long time, 20 plus years.
Right.
It's probably grandparents' house or something. You know what I mean? And it's in really good condition. So it may not be like the newest, up to date, but all the tiles are intact. The wood floors are nice. It's got some old ass carpet that you want to get out of there. However, it ain't all
the bones are good,
ripped up. The bones are good. Like you could you could go in there, clean it if you want it, and move in. And like the plumbing works, you know, things like that. And so when we're talking about resale as an investor, like in this current market that we are experiencing right now, you don't have to necessarily go in and do a full HGTV rehab to sell for retail. You can go in, buy the house, clean it up.
And a light rehab.
And throw it on the market and get a great return.
Right. So a lot of people, so this is what tripped me out, right? A lot of investors or buyers will call me and be like, I'm looking for a deal on a property. I'm looking for some foreclosures. And I say, well, what's your budget? And they say, well, it depends. Just can you send me a list of foreclosures? Well, the foreclosures are the same price in most cases now in the market value. All banks do is whatever the market value is minus the repair costs and maybe a little bit less, that's what they're going to list it for. And in this market, you're not really getting a deal on a foreclosure. Your biggest deals are going to be probates and short sales, if you can find any short sales. Because in the market, short sales and foreclosures are for distressed markets when the economy is bad, people are losing homes. But right now, probate gives you the biggest opportunities because you're getting a property that's probably in better shape. So everybody's calling looking for foreclosures because that's what they were trained to look for. But I'm like, dude, I just brought a house for $25,000, sold it. I put $5,000 into it, sold it for $55,000. So just because you were stuck on a foreclosure, you didn't get this probate deal. So people need to start looking for deals and not foreclosures.
Well, they need to have a good real estate professional.
They need a professional that understands that.
Because they don't even know. Those people that you're talking about are the people that have killed the market for investors. Or not killed it, but like made it not as attractive.
Yeah, they draw the price
up. You know what I mean? They don't know what they doing, so they overpaying for stuff, and they didn't. Yeah,
they draw the price up.
I don't even want to. They made me almost not want to flip anymore. You know what I mean? I almost
they did the
Yeah, I want to do a whole show on this.
No, like for real. Like cause those people that you got too many people that come in. It started at the tax sales.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yep. It's like you come in here and you bidding the market value for the doggone house. How you gonna make some money?
Right, because they don't know any better.
Okay.
But probates for investors are good, but again, investor has, so whether you're a buyer or investor, you got to understand probably 80% of the time, especially for a regular buyer, you buying a house, you may see a few properties listed with FHA, but probably 70-80% of the time, they not trying to fix the house. There's nobody there to fix it.
Yeah.
And there's no money in the estate to fix it. And then the family members don't want to invest the money to fix it because then they may have to argue with the rest of the family how they're going to get their money back out of it. So really the personal rep, anybody that's putting money into the estate on behalf of the estate need to keep good records so that they can ask for reimbursement from the estate. And then people, this is the funny part, people don't understand if you're the personal rep and you sell that property and the estate is still open before it closes out, because once it closes out, it goes to whoever it was left to. But the check goes to the name of the estate. So technically, the estate is like a business or a LLC. And people be at closing like, oh, I thought they was going to write the check to me. I'm like, nah, it's in the name of the estate. So A lot of times the family don't want to invest the money into the property to sell it. So that's why it's attractive to people that want to buy as is. Mm-hmm. But if the seller's got a good realtor, somebody that can walk through and say, look, all you got to do is spend maybe about $500. You can put this on the market and you can get top dollar. Spend $2,000. Mm-hmm. It's worth it to get the extra, $13,000, $15,000 for this home. But from a buyer and investor standpoint, those are where some good deals are because people don't want to touch them in most cases.
So you're talking about the ones, so Jonnita, y'all was referring to so y'all feel like a lot of them are in good condition. I feel like a lot of them are. Yeah, I feel like a lot of them are
I run
in bad
across both. Right.
You know what I mean? I think, I don't know the numbers, but I'm saying.
What she's saying is most of the time, probably 95% of the time, these homes were lived in recently versus a foreclosure that's been vacant for a year or two.
Yeah.
So when people say, a foreclosure, I'm like, what's your budget? Because if you're going to spend $100,000 on that, I can get you a nice house under probate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Probate.
We're talking about an investor.
Yeah, investor or buyer.
So the investors, I just was talking to an agent about that.
Habitable. So like
but
your house.
But they're not always habitable though.
So your house in Pontiac is a good example of one.
The house on Warrington was a good example of one. So he lived there.
Yeah,
because he lived there. He was in. No, it's a great example because he lived in the house.
Right.
But the house, when you went in there, you're like, shit. What the fuck was going on here? Right?
That's the difference between people's lifestyle. But it's better to have seen, okay, I know the furnace works. Mm-hmm. I know it needs a roof. And you got maybe a family member to say, okay, dad was here and he had some problems with the basement or something like that. When you go into a foreclosure that's been vacant for 2 years, you just don't know anything. You kind of going.
Agreed.
You gotta assume what might be wrong with it.
But I still feel like in those in the houses, because there are a lot of them where so this happens all the time in Detroit. Like, for real. Like, you know what I mean? Where people had these big, nice brick homes.
Yep.
But grandma was in there. We just ran into one when I was went to go look at a house with Ashley.
Right.
It was a grandma right across the street. She in this big, nice brick home. It's just her.
Right.
Her house is deteriorating. She lives in there right now.
Right.
But, I mean, she got water coming in everywhere. I gotta go back over there.
Yeah.
I told her I was going to help. Huh?
My house.
What?
Party.
Yeah, similar to party. Yeah. So that's what I see more often. I see those situations where the grandparents or the grandmother or whatever elderly individual stayed in there and is not able to keep up the upkeep of the house. And so when she passes, then the other family members don't have they don't have the money either.
Right.
So then now that's where the investor can come in.
Yeah, but that creates a good deal for somebody.
That's what it is. That's the great deals right there. Right.
But you also run into where that house was maintained well. Mm-hmm. The roof is 20 years old, but it's not leaking. The shingles are intact. Mm-hmm. Right. But to sell it, you got to put a new roof on it. Mm-hmm. And the people just don't have the money to do anything.
Agreed.
So it might be an ARV of $200,000. You might get it for $130,000 cash, right? And you might have to go in there and do some improvements, but not necessarily a renovation.
So the one we just got, ARV 200.
235.
235. Got it for 60.
150.
No. How much we pay for it?
Oh.
It was like 65.
No.
It was more than that?
Where you been?
Spending money you don't know about.
Let me tell y'all something. Now, this is a real thing.
Right.
Jonnita does all the negotiating. She'll send it to me at the end. After she got everything, she'll include me in the, hey, this is how much we're buying for her. Go look at this house and everything. Right. Then she goes and gets the financing and everything. For me, it's free money.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So I don't care if we definitely not. I don't think we want.
Yeah, it's 155.
You think so?
We're
gonna have to bet. We're gonna have to make a bet on that.
What you want to bet? We just shake right now.
We could bet a shot. We'll take a shot on the next. Reggie gonna be on Jonnita's team. I'm gonna be on my own.
All right, so he gotta take 2 shots then.
All right.
Okay.
Yes. Well, that's cool.
No, now you're. But anyway, I was getting to a point. My point with those investors, I hate when somebody says, "Send me, dog, what do you want? What's your strategy? What's your investment strategy? Are you buy and hold? Are you trying to flip?
Yep.
If you're buy and hold, what do you want return on investment?
Yep.
If you flipping, what's the minimum you want to get back for your money?
And they're gonna say, I don't know, it depends.
If you don't give
Just
me
send
that,
me some
I can't talk to you.
Right.
You gotta go find you another realtor.
We're gonna talk about that on the episode too.
All right. So look, what did we learn today? Probate, even in this show, may have sounded like it was complicated. However, it's not.
It's not, right?
Go and seek legal counsel. Some attorneys do that at no charge for the first conversation.
Right.
At least you'll get some gems out of doing that. And if you're an investor, try to take advantage of some of these probates. These homes that go on the market because they need to be sold.
Don't take advantage of them. Work with them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Definitely don't take advantage. But you know what I mean.
You guys probably get you a good real estate individual.
Professional to help you.
Yeah.
So that is a wrap. I hope that our audience learned something about probates today.
They did. If they didn't, they wasn't listening.
Right.
Like, subscribe to our channel. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook. I need to get my tweeting back on. I used to tweet all the time.
You did? I stopped.
I stopped in like 2009 or 10.
Oh, okay.
I got to get back to my tweeting. So
you got kicked off with the president.
This is what it sound like.
Yep. All right. That's a wrap.